Well, hello and welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. So, I'm going to have a couple disclaimers here. Number one, I'm not going to use a lot of professional videos and things like that. I have videographers I can use, but the reason why I'm doing this series is actually to get you away from perfection. A lot of people have this idea of perfection and they don't feel like they're good enough unless they have everything perfect. But really, I want to start moving you into the direction of taking action. Immediately, better done than perfect. And the reason why is because we're here to start accomplishing things and getting things off your plate so we can get over things like overwhelm and depression. But if we're always worried about it not being perfect, we stop doing that. We stop making that progress. So that's the first thing with the emotional course is learning to just get things off your plate and just do them now. So what the difference between a God and a human is a God is thought in action, which means when God or creator has a thought, it immediately creates it. It doesn't wonder if there's money. It doesn't worry about what anybody else thinks. It doesn't worry, you know, if it's good enough or it just creates. And so I want you to get yourself in that space of how would it feel to be able to have a thought and then instantly be able to produce it. And so that is one of the ways and the liberties that you get when you start healing your emotions and transforming your life. And a lot of the shame and the worry of being perfect and all that stuff has to go out the window so you can actually step into that space of being a God creator. So, also, next disclaimer, I am not a doctor, I'm not a therapist. I am not even interested in being one. In fact, that's why I give a lot of this information away for free, because I give you the tools to transform and heal your life, things that I've done personally myself, things that I've studied a lot, I've seen in my clients. These are just my experiences and what I've learned. I'm just massively gifted in this kind of area, but I am not pretending to be your doctor or your therapist. So if you have, like, you're on medication, things like that, yeah, don't take what I say and say that I said it was okay to drop those, okay? So I'm just here to help you heal on emotional level, the different areas of your life, money, relationships, and then also your physical health. Because a lot of what physically causes disease or pain in the body is dis-ease, which is emotional trapped emotions. So you're having emotional issues or you're having thoughts that cause emotional responses that are not in alignment with what you actually desire. So the very first thing we want to address whenever we have emotional stuff is usually mental. So when I first started my spiritual journey 15 years ago, I was actually in a polygamous cult. I have 5 moms and like 35 brothers and sisters. I've lost track. And I was suffering from an arranged marriage, and it was very emotionally burdensome on me for a lot of reasons, but we don't need to go into all to that. Long story short, what you need to know is I had created fibromyalgia, manic depression, and severe anxiety based on based on the belief systems I had at that time, and severe OCD. And I had really bad like worthiness issues. Like I never felt like I was like worthy of anything or receiving. I always felt like a burden. You know that feeling that you just are so worried to ask for what you need? Like, and then I always like had, like, I would bawl anytime I needed anything, or I always got that feeling in my stomach like I was always in trouble. So those are some things that I'm going to teach you how to heal. I also know that most of you aren't going to watch this whole series, so I'm going to give you as much information as I can over the next 3 days. And then if you would like to work with me personally or work with one of my spiritual avengers, because I actually manifest and attract people that are more than human, they have amazing magical abilities, then I can connect you to one of them as well. So back when I was suffering from all of these things, I actually committed suicide. I attempted suicide. I overdosed on sleeping pills. I was in a very emotionally abusive situation. I hadn't had sex with my husband for 3 years. My sister wife hated my guts for good reason. I mean, can you imagine having 7 kids with a man and then he brings in an 18-year-old? You want to kill her too. So I'm not angry about any of that anymore. But it did cause a lot of health issues in my life. And so I ended up committing suicide. I overdosed on sleeping pills. And that night, a being came into my room, a masculine energy, and it felt like he was defibrillating me back to life every about 3 minutes. So I would go into this beautiful state of peace, and then I'd jerk back into pain, and then I'd go into peace, and then I'd jerk back into pain, and then I'd go into peace, and I'd jerk back in pain. And so this happened all night long. Hurt like hell. Don't kill yourself. I don't recommend it. It's not worth it. And the very next morning, I was actually pissed off that I was still alive. And I ended up going to work and had a nervous breakdown there because I was still alive. And so I just bawled and bawled and bawled and bawled and bawled for like 2 days straight. And the second day, I came home. My sister wife asked me to go out and weed the garden. And it was like pouring rain, like pouring, like it wasn't even dribbling. It was like pouring. And I was like, really? Because it was like pouring. She's like, yeah, I need you to weed the garden before dinner. And I was like, whatever. And so I went outside and I'm weeding the garden, and I end up having a mini heart attack because I had actually damaged my heart. And as I fall down, it was like one of those epic movie moments where I fell down and the rain was pouring down on me. And I told God in that moment, I'm done. And I says, take me home or show me a better way. And in that moment, lightning struck across the sky. And it was the trippiest thing. It was like all of a sudden God heard me, and I knew he heard me, and it was really weird. But the next day when I went to work, I was having this blown out panic attack, when the snot's coming down and you're just bawling and you're in front of everybody, so you have to go to the restroom. Yeah, it was one of those moments. But because I had so little self-worth, I'm down in the public restroom scrubbing the tiles out with a toothbrush and bawling my eyes out. And I look into the back of this cupboard, and there's this book, and it's kind of wilted because it's old and it's got water damage on it, but I just felt like I needed to read it. And it's called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. I actually am going to want you to look up that book after this audio, because that's your first assignment. It's You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And I ended up reading that book from cover to back to cover. It has tons of affirmations in the back, but it was the first time I had stopped crying. And the book vibrated in my hands as if what she was saying was true. Well, I ended up putting the book in the back of the cupboard when I got done because it didn't belong to me. And I was the very last person to leave the office that day. Well, the next morning, I'm the very first person to come into the office, and I'm so excited to come to work because for the first time in my like 3 years, I was like, I felt alive again. And I looked down on my desk, and that book is set perfectly on it. Now, let's be honest. When I first saw that, I thought it was a Ouija board. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hell. And then all of a sudden, this voice said to me, it said, Natalie, that is your ticket out of here. That is the solution. Like it was so strong. So I ended up reading that book again, and I ended up started reciting the affirmations in the back. And this is what we're going to talk about this, because this is getting your spiritual six-pack or your mental six-pack. You don't get a mental six-pack or emotional six-pack by reading the affirmation once or going to the gym one time or even twice a week. I was doing it every day, all day for like several weeks to a couple months. Okay, this book became my Bible. But what started happening will blow your mind. Within a few weeks, I noticed things started changing in my life. At first, it was pretty subtle. I started being able to open locked doors. Things that would trip out most people. Another thing that started happening as I started being able to manifest little things like, I want a yellow banana, popsicle, and then suddenly it was there. Then my gas tank started filling up. My sister and wife got in a fight one day and she wouldn't give me money for gas money. I was like, fine, whatever. If it breaks down, it breaks down. I stopped caring what people think, and I was just letting them own it. And when I did that, my car kept filling up with gas. Every time it about clunk out, it'd fill back up. And I would drive for another several days, and then it would go back down, and then I'd do it again. And it was really funny because one day I parked it in the parking lot. My husband starts screaming, Natalie, there's not one drop of gas in this car. And I walked downstairs, and I said, hand me the keys. And it instantly starts for me where it wouldn't start for him. So miracles started happening all over in my life. My business ended up paying me $25,000 accidentally. Of course I gave the money back, but that's what I want you to understand is miracles started happening. In fact, I escaped off $500 that my 401k from Walmart sent me when I was 17 years old. Like the money just found me. And that was the money I used to escape. But before I go there, I want you to understand the confidence that I started having that point in my life. where I went from this person that had fibromyalgia, depression, like anxiety, suicidal, to being this person who, when they were laying people off in my business, I worked for a mortgage company. I was the first one to walk up and said, "Lay me off first." And my boss was bawling. She's like, "Why, Natalie? You're my favorite employee." I says, "Because unlike the rest of these people, I will find another job." That is how much confidence I got from just reading that book and practicing what Louise Hay talks and doing my affirmations in the back. Now, you've heard a lot about affirmations, I'm sure, but the thing is most people just don't do them. They say, "Well, it doesn't work for me." And we'll talk about some better ways of doing affirmations in just a second. Well, the confidence I had was I left one job and I literally walked into another business, and the woman stood up and said, "Natalie, I dreamed about you last night and I'm supposed to hire you." I says, "Perfect. I just got laid off." I started working from the business. I was the very first employee. That business connected to my now husband, my ultimate lover, and I literally knew I was supposed to marry him the very first day they put me on the phone with him, and we were connected. And it was the craziest experience, because as soon as him and I got together, that other business dissolved, which tells you that the universe loves and wants to support you. And when you start to love and support yourself, the universe steps in to do that for you. Okay? So miracles happen when you change the way you think. And I get that it's hard. Like when I was so depressive and anxiety and things like that, to say I love and approve of myself, I'm at peace, I'm a calm all as well, it felt like a lie. It felt like a lie. I kid you not. Like, it was insane. I would just bawl and bawl and bawl every time I said it. But the more and more I said it, the more and more I believed it. Now I'm like, the universe loves me. God is my sugar daddy. Everybody wants to spoil me. Like, you just get to, once you start believing it, you get to create the beliefs that you want to put in there. Your computer. You've been brainwashed anyways by your family, by society, by the government. They've all brainwashed you. You might as well put in the programs that actually support you. Does believing in a hell support you? Or does it create negative karma and feelings in your life? Is judging others supporting you? Or does it cause friction and hurt your heart? So learning to remove the beliefs that don't serve your highest and best good, feeling like you're not enough, is that really serving you? Feeling like you need to play small, that guys are bad or women or this or that, are these beliefs serving you? So what I teach you to do is to shift those beliefs and remove what's not serving you. And create what you actually desire. Now you'll notice my hands moving a lot like this. So I'm actually a goddess. I've opened my vessel up to creator energy, so the goddess actually comes from my vessel. And we'll talk more about that in later videos, because it's how I do timeline healings on people, and I shift their frequencies, and I do all sorts of stuff, fun stuff that way. Now we're going to talk about effective affirmations. There's a couple ways you can do it. Number one, you can say it in the mirror, looking yourself in the eye. It gets a little intimidating, but if you can do this for 5-10 minutes every day, it's going to boost your mood, okay? Another thing you can do is say affirmations into water, because we're 70% water. When you say it into the water, it absorbs into your cells, so you can believe it a lot faster. You guys get to cheat. You can actually put these in your ears. People are doing positive affirmations online all the time. You can just slip them in. They didn't have those when I started this. And then also tapping right here helps. And then also stating I am statements and putting up here. So this is your first assignment for this week, or today. You're going to get Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. And that book alone will help transform your life. But the other videos will give you lots and lots of other goodies as well. Have a blessed day.